Sometimes history is not just about kings and battles. Sometimes it's about lessons, deep, powerful lessons, wrapped inside stories that at first sound strange, even unsettling. The Bible is full of these stories. And today, we're going to hear one of the most unusual of them all, the time when Israel's greatest treasure, the Ark of the Covenant, was captured by their enemies. And what happened next was nothing short of shocking. It's a story about pride, power, pain, and the reminder that there are some things in life you simply cannot control. Israel and the Philistines were long-time enemies. The Philistines lived along the coast, warriors armed with iron, feared across the land. The Israelites were God's chosen people, and they had the Ark of the Covenant, the sacred chest covered in gold that represented God's presence with them. Inside were the 10 Commandments, Aaron's rod, and a jar of manna, powerful reminders of God's faithfulness. But Israel had grown careless. They thought if they carried the ark into battle, it would guarantee victory. They treated God's presence like a good luck charm. But God is not a charm to be used. And so, when the battle came, Israel was crushed. The Ark of the Covenant was captured. For Israel, it was devastation. For the Philistines, it was triumph. They believed their gods had conquered Israel's God. And they carried the ark as a trophy back to Ashdod, placing it in the temple of their god, Dagon. Picture the scene: a towering stone idol of Dagon, and beside it, the golden ark of the Lord. To the Philistines, this was proof that Dagon was supreme. But the next morning, something strange had happened. Dagon had fallen. The mighty idol lay face down on the ground before the ark, as if bowing in worship. Embarrassed, the priests lifted him back up. The following morning, it was worse. Dagon had fallen again, but this time his head and hands were broken off, lying on the floor. Only his trunk remained. The message was clear. The God of Israel was not defeated. He was the living God, and before him, every idol must fall. But the humiliation of Dagon was only the beginning. Soon the people of Ashdod began to suffer. The Lord's hand was heavy upon them. They were struck with painful swellings, tumors sometimes described as hemorrhoids. The land was overrun with mice. Fear filled the city. Whispers spread. Ever since the ark came, our God has fallen. Our people are sick. Our land is ruined. The people cried, "The ark of the God of Israel cannot stay here with us." So they sent it to Gath. But when the ark arrived in Gath, the same disaster struck. The people were afflicted with tumors. Panic gripped the city. So they sent it on again, to Ekron. But when the people of Ekron saw it coming, they cried out, "They have brought the ark of the God of Israel here to kill us too." Everywhere the ark went, disaster followed. The cry of the people rose up to heaven. The Philistines realized they weren't fighting Israel anymore. They were fighting Israel's God, and they were losing. Imagine the tension. In every city, people whispered, "Where is the ark now? Whose home will it strike next?" Their gods were silent, their leaders helpless. The ark had become like a burning coal. No one wanted to keep it, but no one knew what to do with it. Finally, the leaders admitted the truth. We must send the ark back. What does this teach us? God cannot be mocked. The Philistines thought they had captured him, but he showed them that no idol can stand before him. God's presence is holy. The ark was not just a golden chest. To treat it lightly brought judgment, and suffering often humbles us. The Philistines only saw the truth when their pain became too great to ignore. And what about us? How often do we try to capture God for ourselves? Maybe not with an ark, but with our expectations. We want God to bless our plans, while we cling to idols of money, success, comfort, or control. We want him to sit quietly beside what we worship. But God doesn't bow to idols. Just as Dagon fell, so will everything else we trust in. Think of Ashdod again. The priests hurrying into the temple, expecting Dagon to stand tall, and instead finding him face down. Imagine their unease. Then, the next day, the broken head and hands on the floor, the fear spreading, the cries as the plague grew worse. the people clutching their children, running through the streets, leaders meeting in desperation, each city dreading the ark's arrival, crying, "Keep it away from us!" It's almost cinematic, but it's also deeply human. Because it's about pride meeting reality, about arrogance colliding with holiness. In the end, the Philistines had no choice. Their pride was broken. Their gods were powerless. Their land was infested. Their people cried out, and they realized the Ark of God was not theirs to control. The story still speaks today. It warns us not to take what is holy and treat it as ordinary. It reminds us that God cannot be mocked. It teaches us that He alone is sovereign and that every idol will fall. The Philistines thought they had won, but in truth, they had walked into a lesson from the Almighty. And that lesson still echoes. Honor what is holy, respect the presence of God, and never forget, He cannot be mocked. That is the story of the plague of emerods on the Philistines. Strange, dramatic, unsettling, but unforgettable. A story about the holiness of God and the danger of pride.